Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon where I'm at, and good morning where Peter is. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from eTurboNews and livestream.travel. I'm currently in Cologne, Germany. Behind me, you see the famous Cologne Cathedral. And the cathedral is busy because it's Christmas in Germany. Today is actually the second Christmas day. There are 2 Christmas holidays every year. And today is the second Christmas holiday. It's kind of you can see it, cloudy, dark, miserable, kind of a miserable day. It's really quite cold today compared to yesterday. We have -2 degrees, I believe, Celsius, so it's freezing. And I don't know how things are in College Station, Texas, but I like your blue breaking news screen behind it. Doesn't look as cold, so.
Yeah, so things here are great in Texas. It's of course still early in the morning. It's just 8:19, but we're expecting a very beautiful day. Yesterday was in the upper 70s. That'll be around 25, 26 degrees Celsius. Today it should be around the same. Blue skies, just a few clouds in the sky. So it's really a beautiful day and a gentle wind. And I see on your television, which is next to you, that's showing pictures of all sorts of people skiing. So I guess we not only see the cathedral in Cologne, but we're also getting to watch your television program at the same time.
Well, this is actually a great hotel. I've stayed here. Look, I'm paying full price. I'm not advertising for the hotel, but it is a nice hotel. I'm staying at the Grand Hyatt, or Hyatt Regency better, in Cologne. And as you can see, you walk over this bridge, and it's the bridge where all the intercity trains go between Cologne, the fairground, what is Deutz, to the main train station. And it's right where the cathedral is. So it's a great location. And at night, the cathedral is lighted. You see it from your bed. It's wonderful. A good place to stay. And I have to say, the hotel seems to be quite busy. I see Americans here. I see a lot of people from Holland, from Poland, from Austria, from all over Europe. So it seems like people are traveling despite the COVID outbreak, and similar to it is in the United States. The Omicron is a big concern. Luckily, for some strange reason, Germany seems to be the only country where every day the numbers went down. And they're down again today, I think more than 20% from yesterday. And this is kind of the trend all week. So Germany has not been hit like many other countries, like the United States, like Holland, what is just 50 miles away. We're close to the Dutch border, but it seems to be under control, but everyone is bracing for it to come. So I don't think you can stop it. You can probably delay it, and everyone knows this. And so far, so good. Even though Omicron is a major concern, it hasn't really hit here. But it did hit here. If you look at flights, Lufthansa canceled numerous international and intercontinental flights, including to Houston, Washington, and Boston the last few days. Still operating to New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, because they don't have enough pilots. And many of the pilots are sick with COVID. What is, I think, even a bigger situation in the United States, where United Airlines, Delta, and many other airlines are not only canceling intercontinental flights to Europe, but they're also canceling domestic flights. What, of course, on a Christmas holiday is a major, it's major trouble.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a real problem here in the United States. I see, watching your television there, that Santa Claus is still there, and you have
it's a movie, I think, playing.
Yeah, you have a movie or whatever it is. But yes, in the United States, we had a number of flights canceled. It really made problems for people, especially as thousands, I believe 2,000 flights were canceled in the United States on Christmas Eve. And that meant that all sorts of travel nightmares took place. Of course, in the northern part of the United States, it's cold. And to top that off, people don't want to be stuck in a terminal, because if you're afraid of the Omicron variant, which is so contagious, the last thing you want to do is be stuck in an airport. So you have really a triple whammy there. Yesterday, again, it continued to have flights canceled, and we're told today there will be quite a number of flights canceled. So what that is doing is creating really not only an issue as far as medicine goes, but a perception problem. Once again, the more difficult travel becomes, the less people want to do it. And I know here where the Omicron variant is very widespread, a number of my Christian friends had to cancel their Christmas activities. Families couldn't get together. And then we have some other real problems in the United States, one of which is that for whatever reason, the government forgot to order testing kits. So there are no testing kits. My son yesterday had to go to get a test because of a travel. And normally it takes like 5 minutes to go to a walk-in testing center. It took over 2 hours. A lot of people had to wait 7 hours in order to get a test. And that makes, again, travel incredibly difficult. The other part of it is that people don't know what new rules will come. So even if you do travel, what happens if the rules change on your way home? So for example, if when you come back to the United States, if all of a sudden Austrian Airlines announces flights are canceled, you're now having a new issue, and you're lucky you're just one person traveling. But if you're a family of 4 or 5 with little children, which takes place over Christmas, you have children crying, parents upset, and you don't know where you're going. So that makes it, really challenging, to say the least. We did see an uptake in the United States of people traveling by car. So many people are trying to avoid the airlines and trying to stay within 5 hours of home. So that's a real issue that's taking place. And again, I think the important thing for the tourism industry is that we've got to create systems that allow people, when these emergencies take place, not to say you're on your own. So maybe terminals need to have special places for people to eat. They need to put out beds. I don't know what they need to do, but they need to create new systems so that people do not feel abandoned if the situation changes.
And Peter, I have to say, the situation seems to be quite a bit more organized, specifically in Germany. I flew on Thursday on a completely booked flight on Lufthansa from San Francisco to Munich. And in Munich at the airport, it's a wonderful airport. You have everything you need. There are testing sites, several testing sites. You get tests done anytime you want, 24 hours a day. It's free if you have a German passport. It costs like 15 euro if you don't have a German passport. And it's very quick, it's very efficient. And the same is in all the cities. Like here, you can actually go to the cathedral you see across, and there are testing sites. You can get tested. There's no wait. It takes a few seconds. Yeah. And I think we need to get to this point, specifically with the situation with Omicron spreading. We need to have enough tests. You can test at home. And I can tell you, celebrating Christmas with my family, my sister insisted that I have a test before I meet with my family. And it's understandable because you have a responsibility. And I can tell in my family, we had 2 COVID cases. My nephew in New York couldn't fly in, and he was supposed to join us with his wife. And they're both down with COVID. So it's a real situation.
It's a real problem. I congratulate the Germans for being organized. Unfortunately, our current government is the other way. We're terribly disorganized. And this is really the worst we've ever had since the COVID started in disorganization. Admitted right from the very top that they did not order enough tests. In fact, the vice president said, "Oh, we didn't see it coming," which is kind of hard to believe, but it's the reality. So that again hurts the tourism industry, because when people are afraid, or you're stuck waiting 6 or 7 hours to get a test, you don't want to travel, especially if you're traveling with little children. So and Christmas is a time when families travel together. So that is really a major issue. On top of that, there are other issues going on around the world. Unfortunately, the scourge of terrorism, which is normally should not be a tourism issue, but it is, because very often terrorists attack tourism sites. We saw yesterday 6 people were killed when some terrorists went into the Congo into a restaurant and threw bombs into the restaurant. Now, I understand there's not a lot of tourism in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which also has Ebola and other issues. So probably not the best place to visit at the moment. But the important thing is the importance for tourism to maintain safety and security and to make sure that what happens in the Congo, excuse me, doesn't happen in other places around the world. Tourism traditionally has been a magnet for terrorism. And we know that in Europe, as far back as the Meinhof gangs in the 1960s and 70s, they attacked tourism spots. Italy had the Red Brigades, and the importance of making sure that people are safe both physically and from a perspective of health. So those are things that need to be worked on. Interestingly enough, a number of countries are looking more and more at protecting at least major tourism restaurants, major tourism hotels, and major tourism sites. For example, what would happen if at the cathedral that across the way from you, somebody threw a bomb?
And look, and this is it's a scare. I can tell you what the scare here is. There is a law in effect. I think it's just the first day it's in effect today, that in the cities of, and this is for the state of North Rhine-Westphalia where I'm at, in the city of Cologne and Düsseldorf, these are the two major cities, you're not allowed to carry pocket knives to the cathedral area or to the downtown area because they had so many stabbings. People get killed.
Yes.
Going to the bars. There are confrontations. Like in the United States, we have the gun problems. Here to have guns is a real, it's very difficult to get guns. So, but they're knives. So
Yes.
people are creative. If you want to do harm, you find ways to
Yes.
do harm. And now if you're caught with the pocket knife, there are strict penalties, I think 5,000 euro in jail time if they catch you here in downtown Cologne with a pocket knife.
So how do they reinforce that? How do they have testing places to see if you have a knife on you, or do the police stop you, or how do they know if I have a pocket knife?
No, they don't really stop you. But if there's a fight or anything like this and people get involved in it, then of course they check. But you know, you're not going to get stopped by police, and people are not going to ask you unless there's a reason. But at least, you know, psychologically, it's doing something. There are, from what I understand, to the Old Town area in here, both in Cologne and Düsseldorf, what it's a major party area. Now it's closed, it's Christmas Day, but when they open tomorrow again, that there are checks when you go in. So if you wanted to be in that area and you wanted to visit the restaurants and the bars, yes, you do get checked like you do in the United States. You go through a metal door, and I don't know how they're going to do it here if there's a metal door, but they will have a way of checking it.
Yeah, certainly that's a major problem in London, where people get stabbed all the time. And it's a real issue. I'm not sure how we're going to prevent all of those from taking place, but we will need to think about it. I once thought, you know, often we have these no gun zones. So I thought, well, maybe we should just have no crime zones. And if the sign will stop guns, then maybe the sign will stop all crime. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic on some level. But this is a real issue.
It would be an easy fix, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Just we put up signs all over saying no crime zone. Go someplace else to have your crime, and then that will make it. Or crimes are illegal, and that would solve the problem. I don't think that will happen, but I do think that we're going to see next year, you know, a rise in frustration, and that's going to be a really interesting thing to do, especially if there's another variant of COVID. Now, it might be. And viruses traditionally do create variants, and these variants often become weaker. And that may be what's happening with the COVID, where it's not attacking the lungs, it's only attacking the upper respiratory system. And so maybe what we're seeing is that COVID will go from a pandemic to an endemic. Endemic is a much normal type of thing. We have lots of endemics around the world, and we've learned to live with them. But I think from the tourism perspective, it's really important that the industry stop somewhat complaining and start doing. And that means we have to really show people that they can live in a world of COVID, they can travel, and that when something happens or if there's a last moment change, the tourism industry is backing them rather than just letting people feel abandoned. And if we can do that, then I think we'll begin to regain the confidence that's needed in order to begin to get things going.
And
Right
Peter,
now,
there is
one of
an
the big
interesting, I mean, talking about what you saying, there's an interesting study what was concluded by the Thailand Department of Medical Science, and Dr. Supaket Srilak, he's the Director General of the department, said that the Omicron is spreading 70 times faster than the Delta variant. However, the Omicron did not harm lungs like the Delta. Of the Delta cases, as many 50% were admitted to hospitals in Thailand, while the rate among the Omicron cases in Thailand, admission was only about 20%. At present, Thailand has 16% of all COVID cases are Omicron. So the number is rising because it's so contagious. But the percentage of Omicron cases among tourism arrivals rose from 25 to 53%. So that is an enormous rise. Of 205 Omicron cases in the country, 180 were visitors and 25 others were Thai people who had not left the country but had met or had interaction with these visitors. So it looks like the visitors industry is somehow responsible for transporting this Omicron virus over borders.
Well, absolutely. The problem is, how do we protect both the local population and the visitor when things change? And they will change. I think one of the things that we're going to see this winter is that you're going to see a rise in the flu. Now, again, people tend to forget that the flu, a cold, and COVID are all coronaviruses. They're interrelated. They're like a family. So we're going to, if we have an increase in the flu, will people traveling with the flu infect other people? Now, we test for COVID, we don't test for the flu. Many people who have been vaccinated for COVID didn't bother to get a flu vaccination. And so in many parts of the world, the flu vaccination, and hopefully you've gotten your flu vaccine, is maybe only 17% of the population, 18, 17%. Well, you know what? That means that we may have a major flu outbreak, and the flu is just as contagious as COVID. And by the way, kills lots of people. So we need to really be thinking about this. It's not just a question of COVID. It's a question of travel and health and making sure that we don't spread disease from one place to the other. And you know what? If you die of COVID, or you die of a bad cold, or you die of the flu, or you die of diabetes, you're still dead. It really doesn't matter. So we got to make sure that, but I'm really worried about a flu outbreak around the world with so few people getting flu vaccinations.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. I mean, flu vaccination, I think in the United States, it's very common. I got mine, and a lot of people I know got those, and it's also very common here in Europe. But there are other parts of the world where maybe flu is not such a big and known issue, and COVID is on the front line. So where maybe people don't really think about flu.
People are hearing about COVID every day, and you're forced to get in many places a COVID vaccination, and that's good. I'm pro-vaccination, but I also want people to get a flu vaccination, because in the beginning of the illness, you don't know if it's COVID or if it is a flu. And on top of that, there are 3 or 4 types of COVID all taking place at the same time. So what happens is we don't necessarily know on the first stages of COVID, if it says you're positive, are you positive with the Omicron or with the Delta or with the classical COVID? And so that means treatment can't begin. But the problem is, if I'm traveling with the flu, I can take a COVID test, show that I'm negative, and still bring the flu to the entire plane, or to the entire, or get off the plane and get lots of other people sick. So those are real issues that we have to begin to think of. Maybe we need to have also a test in the winter. Are you just well before you get on a plane?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In other news today, of course, is Archbishop Tutu in Cape Town died, what of course spreads like a shockwave, especially in South Africa. He is a receiver of the Peace Award and has been, of course, instrumental in rebuilding South Africa after apartheid. I understand from our friend Jeffrey Lipman, he has been a big supporter of world tourism. Jeffrey, when he was CEO of the World Travel and Tourism Council, actually met with the Archbishop on several occasions and discussed what tourism can do for a peace process and a healing process in South Africa. So our condolences to the people of South Africa and to all of Africa for this loss. He was 90 years old and he died in Cape Town. And as far as I know, he didn't die on COVID.
Good. Well, and hopefully he died peacefully in his sleep.
The Honorable Minister of Tourism for Jamaica, Edmund Bartlett, made a statement on the passing of Archbishop Tutu.
The passing of the legendary Bishop Desmond Tutu is the closing of a most instructive and human freedom enabling era in human life. The work of Desmond Tutu, along with the freedom fighters of South Africa, made the statement of African liberation a strong and powerful one. But it also was a period when the world converged on Africa in a very positive way. And even little Jamaica played its part, not only in terms of the rhetoric at the UN, but also in terms of his songs and his music and his culture, and how that interaction of the diaspora reversed to enable Jamaica to participate in that freedom struggle, not with bullets or guns, but rather with words and songs and strong admonitions. But also the role that our own Edward Seaga played in driving the discussions to attack the Rand being the instrument and symbol of the greatest level of oppression in South Africa. Defeating the Rand enabled Desmond Tutu and the other leaders, Nelson Mandela and the great ones, to enable a final crumbling of the most painful and destructive period in Black history. So today we give thanks for the life of Desmond Tutu. And we say to all, there goes the example, there goes the legacy, there goes the standard by which our lives must be measured and judged. Let us do our part to preserve that great legacy by this great man. May his soul rest in peace and light eternal shine on him.
Good. Well, and hopefully he died peacefully in his sleep. Unfortunately, everybody dies. We're on a one-way trip from the day you're born. I tell my medical students that everyone is born with a deadly illness, and they go, "What is it?" And I go, "Life." So no matter, nobody asks you if you want to be born, and nobody asks you if you want to die. The real issue is, what do we do in between? And we're all on a personal trip through life. Let's make that voyage, which is what tourism is all about, as valuable and as beautiful as possible, as long as we're on the planet Earth. So I think that the Archbishop's death is a reminder to all of us that we need to make each day count.
Absolutely, and this is a good way, I think, of ending our Christmas message here and Christmas broadcast. And we'll be back this week. I'll be still in Germany, and Peter will still be in Texas, and we're going to see you again probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. In the meantime, please don't forget to read eTurboNews. We'll update you 24 hours a day, every day of the week. And if you wanted to watch this broadcast again, if you're watching it now on eTurboNews, I think we're going to come up the next hour again. Just go back to any page you want or to any article you see us. Otherwise, you find us on YouTube and our channel for YouTube. Just click on the link on eTurboNews and you can watch us anytime and also go back to other broadcasts you wanted to see again. But thank you, Peter, for being part of us this morning. I know it's Sunday morning in
early
Texas.
Here, but
early there.
I hope you'll have a good dinner if you're going out for dinner, and bundle up. And I think you said you're going off to see some friends, so enjoy. I guess it'll be night very soon or probably is night in Germany.
It's 3:40 here right now. Live in the afternoon, so we have a little bit time off night, but it gets dark early. Probably in an hour from now, it's already dark because we're further north in Texas and most parts in the United States. So it gets dark earlier, and also daylight in the summer is 11 in the evening. You still have daylight, so it's a different type of lightning. And then when it's dark and gray, anyway, you can see it's kind of raining and very cold, and you see the Rhine River behind me, and you see some of the boats are going between here and the other side of the river. But it's not really a pleasant day. It's not a day you really want to walk around and spend a lot of time outside.
No, I like being in Ecuador last week when it was right on the equator, and the sun comes up at 6 a.m. and the sun sets at 6 p.m. every day, and the sun shines. So anyway, we send you a little bit of Texas sunshine to Germany, and bundle up. I'm going to go out walking, and I'll be in shorts and a t-shirt. So take care. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm probably we have a nice pool in here and it's warm there. There's a sauna. So maybe I'm going to take advantage of that before we go. If I get a spot, because now you cannot just go down there. You have to reserve a space because of social distancing, I guess. So anyways.
So social distance in the pool?
Yeah, they allow 4 people in the pool at the same time. And you have to reserve a time slot. So you call and then they say, okay, come on down in an hour or 2 hours or whenever it is. And so this is a way of, I guess, keeping people apart.
Okay. Well, 2 of you can swim on top of the water and 2 of you can swim under the water.
All right.
Bye-bye. Have a good day. Enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.